All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. Thank you for joining the webinar for FlexoKITE. Before we get started, I just want to cover a few basics in case you haven't followed one of these with us before. Everyone's going to have their mic automatically muted, so you don't have to worry about background noise during the presentation and everything. I also want to have you look to the right side of your screen. You're going to see three little tabs there. One is for the questions, so if you want to ask a question during the webinar, go ahead. We're also going to have some polls during the webinar where we ask you some questions. It'd be great to get your feedback on those. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So it's exciting for us to now finally kind of open the curtains and give you more of a picture about FlexoKITE and what we want to do here. So a lot of people kind of asking, what's FlexoKITE really? And what it is it's an open technology center. It's a place for people to come and see different technologies all around Flexo and to a degree kind of tinker. And we look at it kind of as a playground. It's a place for you to come and see different technologies working together, all the latest and greatest of what we can put together. And when you start to look at how things work in Flexo, teamwork is incredibly important, because when we look at this, it's not just how industry suppliers work together or products work together. It's also how the technologies fit and how we tune them. And if you look at Formula One, for example, if you wanted to start to use a new type of fuel, well, you might need to make some adjustments to the engine. Or if you wanted to change the tires, it's probably going to change how the car is handling on the track. So maybe you need to adjust the steering and all these things. And how they work together is so important. And that's one of the things we really want to focus on and really, highlight and bring to the forefront when we look at what we want to do with the FlexoKITE. Because companies, if they want to bring in new technologies or new equipment, there's really a maze of different choices you can have. And sometimes when you start to try something new, you don't always get what you would think is the full benefit right from the start. Because in many cases, you might need to tune how that new technology is working with the existing process. So what we want to do is kind of help people understand and demonstrate the effect a single change can have on the final result. So that could be a new type of screening, it could be a new plate technology, it could be a new finishing technology for the plates, it could be new inks, it could be new analogs, and how these things all fit together is really critical in getting a better understanding about how things work and happen in Flexo. And so what we want to do is really open the book, give people a chance and have a place to come and look from A to Z. How do all these pieces fit together? How do they work? If we look from the PDF all the way to the printed result, we can see how these things interact. And if we change one, what effect that has on the other. And that's really what we want to try and achieve with FlexoKITE. We also are going to be supporting any type of Flexo printing, whether that's labels, flexible packaging, and corrugated. And another important part of this is to kind of give you the mic. We want to understand, what are the questions you have? What are the problems that we can help you solve? So we really, really want to hear how you think we can help you in whatever that is, right? And that's important. And this kicks off my first poll question, which is, what are the kind of problems you experience now in the press room, when you look at specific, printing issues? So that could be ghosting on press. It could be ink spitting, low solid ink density, problems with white opacity, problems with dirty print, and problems with press-to-press consistency. Now, everyone can now click on the right side of your screen and you'll see the poll, and you can start to fill this in, and then we'll automatically start to see the results. And this gets really interesting because in a lot of cases, a low solid ink density could be in labels, it could be in flexibles, it could be in corrugated, it could be a lot of different possibilities with how that comes up. Same thing with white opacity. When we look at white opacity, there's new developments in plates, there's new developments in inks. There's many different ways we can start to improve these things. What's really interesting now to start to look at the results we see coming up, a lot of interest and a lot of questions around wide opacity and pinholing. And one of the other things that we start to see more and more important is not just the screening that you use or the pattern you put on top of your plate, but it's also how that reacts to the actual finishing of the plates and with what we have for the spec for the analogs. And all these things are linking back together. So it's really, really interesting to see what's happening there. So now I'm going to move on to the next part of the presentation, which is going to be hearing a little bit from each one of the partners. And we're going to kick that off with ESCO and Pascal Thomas, who's the director of the Flexo business. So Pascal, I'll hand off to you.
Thank you, Dan. I hope you're not going to put that beeper on me if I talk too long. All right, let me do a short introduction of ESCO within the packaging supply chain, so to speak. So if you look at our business, ESCO is part of a larger company called Danaher. In the Danaher company, we are in the product identification division, where we're actually playing in a market of an $8 billion size with a continual growth of 3 to 4% each year. Within that market, the PID division is approximately taking a $2 billion sales volume out, which is spread over 50% in terms of equipment and software and 50% in terms of consumable and services. We're about 8,000 people servicing our customers. And if you look at the spread over the different companies, you have X-Rite being more at the creation of a job, ESCO more in the production of a job, meaning from design to plate making. Of course, AVT, now part of ESCO, which is the inspection part on the press. And then on the filling part, or the lateral part of the packaging supply chain, we have our companies called Videojet that is doing inspection of the barcode while inkjetting and laser marking of barcodes onto packaging, as well as inspecting it with a company called Lattice. So in total, as mentioned, quite a large organization with 8,000 people there to service our customers. If you want to bring us to the next slide. All right. If we look at ESCO in specific, we have brought a series of innovations. And let's start with the left-hand side of the picture, the CDI Crystal, which is our top-class imaging device, delivering both a sharper image as well as increasing contrast and print. Not only is it outperforming in terms of quality, but we also have a total automation of that system now, meaning it reduces the amount of touch points or the amount of operator involvements with the systems from 8 down to 2, meaning you need less labor. The labor is simplified. One of the revolutionary techniques or technologies that we brought to market in 2016, at Drupa 2016, if you remember, was the new LED device, the XPS Crystal LED Exposure Unit. That unit has now been sold more than 250 times across the world and is actually delivering the highest plate making consistency that you can achieve today. You can achieve that consistency and quality, in a repeatable way. You don't have to go and tune the exposure frame over and over again when you change the tubes or something. This is all history. This is all from the past. You don't need to do all of that anymore. If you want to go to the next slide. Another product that actually won a recent award again, we won an award in France, Les Oscars du Packaging. The Print Control Wizard is a software which actually is embedded with brand new screens that will improve the solids, really improve the ink laydown without pinholing, like mentioned as one of the key problems that you have. But also one of the big challenges that you have when you have a boosted solid is the transition into the screen, meaning you have a very high solid ink density, and now you're going to start shooting holes with the screen in that solid ink. So it kind of makes a rupture. We have managed to solve these problems, as well as have we managed to make the dot bridging issue, basically the uncontrolled connection of ink in the print. We've been able to resolve that issue, majorly happening with solvent ink printing. Of course, you can clearly see that the text is a lot more sharper with the new technology, as well as the opacity of white. We have brand new screens that are called crystal white screens, which are solving some of the white pinholing issues, white opacity issues that a lot of people have in the market today. Which brings us to, again, the next slide. Why is ESCO actually part of FlexoKITE? Well, ESCO is one of the leaders in terms of pre-present software as well as flexo plate making. And I think we can clearly say that, being such a large player in that environment, we needed to be part of the FlexoKITE team just to make sure that we could demonstrate the big innovations that we have brought to the market. So we want to make sure that we share the experience with our partners here amongst the FlexoKITE organization in order to develop the Flexo printing quality, the Flexo in general, to another level, to a better and improved level, in order to support you as a customer even more. So we think that together with all the players here on FlexoKITE, we have the largest team of experts that will be able to support you throughout your journey on printing Flexo. Can you move to the next slide? Where do we, so to speak, benefit, or where does the organization benefit from ESCO? Well, we are a global position company. We are servicing our customers from, I would say, in Argentina all the way to Japan. Meaning global does not mean that we're far away from our customers. We're actually, having local people that will come and service you in terms of machine breakdown, software deployment, software training, but also application issues that you may have. We do have a very large print application specialist that will be able to support you locally. Of course, we want to participate in these experience centers where you will be able to test our systems and, make some benchmarks on these systems, make sure that you validate the system, that you build up experience. Like, consider it like a training center that you can play with. There's no other place, to my knowledge, where you have that freedom to go and test and validate all these innovations. So actually, by going towards these experience centers, you will be able to recognize how simple flexography has become over the last years. And with this, I will hand over to the next presenter.
Thanks, Pascal. So next we're going to hear from Rafik, application specialist for Flexo from DuPont. Rafik, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll go back.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
How are you doing? I guess we have a wonderful time with the webinar today from Apex, which is the FlexoKITE's webinar. Welcome you all. I'm Rafik, the application specialist for South Asia in DuPont. I would like to take you through the overview of the company. DuPont is a 200 plus years old company, and it is mainly into innovation of science and technology. And the DuPont Sidel business is part of the part of the DuPont Electronics and Imaging business. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So this shows it all the kind of innovations and developments that DuPont Cyril business has gone through the last 40 plus years. DuPont introduced the first photopolymer plate in 1974, and that's how the whole thing started in the Cyril branded Flexo business. DuPont Cyril flexographic systems has been for more than 40 years, and it's been the pioneer in achieving quality, productivity, and sustainability for our customers through innovation that benefit the customer and improve their profitability. The key milestones that I would like to touch base on is the light finishing, which replaced the chemical finishing in 1990. The DuPont introduced the first Cyril digital imager, the first Cyril digital plate, which is fully digital with the introduction of the lamps layer. The beginning of the next century was with another wave of growth with the introduction of the thermal plate processing system, which was introduced in Drupa 2000. We operate in more than 6 continents and 100 countries. DuPont continues to innovate and expand the Cyril product line with a wide variety of flexo plates, which some are very specific to different applications. The screening technologies we've introduced addresses the enhanced whites and improved solids. And a complete portfolio of hardware that includes exposures, processors, mounters, and also the ITR in the round sleeves. Can we go to the next slides, Dan? To introduce you to some of the recent innovations, I'd like to touch base on Cyril Easy Bright screening. These are specific screenings developed by DuPont to address the good laydown of ink with less mottle and reduced pinholes. These screens can also be used for solids to enhance the solid laydown and also to save inks. Especially this is very useful and profitable in terms of ink savings when it comes to the solvent based printing process. The Cyril Easy flat top dot was developed for customers who want to process a plate in simplified workflow while enabling print on a wide variety of substrates with optimum speed and high quality highlights on printed package. Then the DuPont fast thermal plate processing system brings the package to life faster, cleaner, and it's more reliable. This was the latest one was introduced in 2012. The latest technologies are available in the FlexoKITE Experience Center for customers and partners to test and try on. Can you go to the next slide, Dan? So this is a quick image of, these are the machineries of, these are the equipments of DuPont Cyril that are present in the Experience Center. Why should DuPont be part of the FlexoKITE? So DuPont actually has a broad range of solutions for the flexo industry. DuPont has always been at the forefront of initiatives related to technical educational institutions and customer experience centers. This is one of the latest, but this is not the only one. We've been associated with quite a lot of partners, and we are at the forefront in providing the latest technologies at the innovation centers and experience centers for people to have the touch and feel experience. DuPont has the technical team that can live up to the expectations of the customers and the challenges that are faced in the industry. Can you go to the next slide? And to end this quick and simple and short introduction of the FlexoKITE, I would like to touch base on the benefits from DuPont to the FlexoKITE ecosystem. DuPont is committed to provide the touch and feel experience to its customers and industry partners at the Experience Center by continuously ensuring there is enough plate supplies and the latest technologies are delivered and rolled out at the experience centers. This is a good place for customers to come and have their on-hand experience on what they want to address, the kind of challenges they have. They can do the tests and they can see the results in front of them. And of course, you have the passionate team of DuPont Seidel, who's very happy to share the experience and learnings with partners and customers alike. I hope you will enjoy the experience of being at FlexoKITE. Have a great time. Thank you, Dan. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Rafiq. Coming back to our second poll question, what we want to get a better understanding is, what are the main focuses for companies looking into 2021? This has definitely been a very interesting year for our industry and for everyone, I think. But we still need to keep that focus. So it's interesting to get an idea from all of you. Where do you think your focus is next year? Is it sustainability, cost reduction? Maybe some companies wanted to migrate more to Flexo, efficiencies or color consistency across packaging. Always interesting to hear where people's focus and where they think their company's going to move into and how they're going to grow next year. We kind of purposely left off profitability because I think as all companies, we want to be able to be more profitable and really drive that through efficiency and cost reduction in how we're actually running the equipment. Big input for everyone. Interesting to see a lot of feedback here. Color consistency across the packaging we see is definitely a hot topic, especially when you look not only on a single press, but from press to press. What are the best ways to try and achieve that? Efficiencies on press. I think we're going to definitely see a little bit more of that in the slides that come. So that's really good. So now I'm going to hand off to our next speaker, who's going to be Matt Bates from McDermott Graphic Solutions, who's the sales director for EMEA. Matt, over to you. We can't hear you, Matt. I'm not able to hear you. Maybe if you go off stage and come back on stage again. Okay, we're just going to wait a second to get Matt back on. All right. I'll tell you what, one can always skip a few slides ahead and come back for McDermott. I'm still waiting for Matt to be able to get back on. Okay. We're going to come back to McDermott. And what I'm going to do is skip a few slides ahead real quick. And we will move on to my colleague, Ruud van Kerk van Apex. So Ruud, you want to take the floor and tell everyone a little bit more about Apex?
Yeah, Dan, am I clear?
Yep, hang on one second. Yes. Should be good to go.
All right, thank you for taking time from your day to join us at this first flight of FlexoKITE. Apex International is honored to be part of FlexoKITE, a program we designed to up your Flexo game. It's no secret that Apex is always eager to share our secrets that take Flexo to new heights. And FlexoKITE is a perfect platform to show the positive impact Analog's innovation has on cutting-edge and legacy flexography. I am Ruud van Kuik, CFO of Apex International and Managing Director of Apex North America. I'm from Holland, where Apex is headquartered, so that explains my accent. Did you know that Apex is the world's largest manufacturer of analogs and precision metering rolls, and the only analogs manufacturer granted global patents for its engravings? We craft our award-winning analogs rolls and sleeves in 5 manufacturing facilities worldwide and supply OEMs and end customers in the wide web, label, and corrugated marketplaces. And what's more, our glue sets define the measure of quality for corrugated board. Many printers describe the analogs roll as the heart of a flexo press. I agree. And while it seems strange that a tube of metal covered in ceramic can mean the difference between printed perfection or an angry customer, the fact is, this roll with practically invisible holes or grooves etched into it, and whose only job is to move a bit of ink a few inches inside your press, will determine the final quality of your print. But that's the way it is with every single component in flexography, large and small, whether it's screen size, plate material, mounting tape, doctor blades, ink viscosity, substrate tension, operator skill, even humidity. The million small variables must work in unison, or else. And everyone here today knows that making one small change to one small component often requires changing other small components to match, or else. One thing is certain, there is no magic bullet in Flexo. It's an orchestra of different instruments. Any one instrument that's out of tune or in poor repair turns your Flexo symphony into a mosh pit. It was the pioneering work of Apex with his introduction of the 60 degrees hexagonal cell that enabled plate making to migrate to finer dot screens. We brought the volume of ink contained in the analog cells under control, precise control. Apex was the first to deeply understand that fine management of ink volume was the absolute key to print quality. And how? Well, we measured. Then we engineered finer lasers to engrave our rolls and worked out the best methods and machines to guarantee a specific volumetric range so that printers could finally predict and repeat their quality. Yes, that's the archetypical honeycomb analogs profile is ours. And it was a revolution, not just an evolution. By the 2000s though, it became clear that 60 degrees wasn't enough. Because an analog cell, when you think about it, it's just a hole containing fluid. And that liquid ink has to find its way onto the plate. Sure, the ceramic helps release the ink when the plate comes in for a kiss. But at the very bottom of the analog cell, the hole, there's usually some ink left behind. And what's more, the smaller the hole, often the more turbulent the ink becomes as the doctor blade does its brutal work. And the result? Well, limitations on finer print screens. So Apex went back to work, hard work, and in 2010 revealed its slalom channel GTT engraving. Ink is no longer trapped in tiny potholes, but can instead flow freely onto the plate without turbulent air bubbles or moire concerns. Easier to image, easier to clean. Finer screens, ink savings, faster speeds and dry times. What's not to like? The patent offices like GTT so much, Apex has the only patent ever granted for an analogs engraving. But typical Apex, being a trendsetter, still was not satisfied. GTT 2.0 further refined the slalom geometry to enable even finer traditional and exotic line screens to print the highest quality at speed. That's happening right now on presses worldwide. Many ask if GTT is an evolution or a revolution. Well, history will decide. But when our children meet up in 2050, and not for FlexoKITE, but maybe Flexo Rocket instead, we may mark 2020 as the year that GTT 2.0 enabled Flexo to achieve the highest print quality at the highest print speed and with the highest energy and material savings for everyone. So beneath the surface too, Apex never stops innovating, refining the cylinders themselves and pioneering lightweight, re-engravable aluminium analog sleeves, up to present day when our top secret carbon fiber analogs are soon to be released. The upside to innovation for printers is increased quality, standardization, and productivity. The downside is lower profit margins as competition and consolidation increase within the printing industry, which means printers have to deliver higher quality, faster, and with lower costs if they expect to stay in business. And sadly, many smaller independent printers face such steep technological challenges. But Apex has learned that a lifeline to struggle operations is often as simple as a new analog roll, often with GTT engraving. No, it's not a magic bullet on its own. The key to success is mastery of the workflow and understanding which equipment is holding you back. For our customers though, Apex delivers consistency. As much as 20% of our profits go into research and development to ensure that all analogs we make in any of our plants worldwide are tested and measured for accuracy against our standard tolerances. And the result? The identical ceramic composition, the identical TIR, identical volume range, hardness, and manufacturing and testing procedures. Apex is a global company with a single mindset: consistent quality. Now, some say it is this quality control that's our greatest strength, and others say it's our innovation. But we at Apex think our strength is our attention to our customers' needs for predictable quality. That is why our company motto is the measure of quality. So our pursuit of innovation and quality has benefits beyond printability. From the solar power panels we've deployed on our facilities to the ink, energy, and material savings our customers enjoy from our products. We are dedicated to reducing our carbon footprint with every step. Sustainability is not a goal of Apex, it's a requirement. So we find ourselves in uncharted waters today and are thus prevented from shaking hands with each other in the same room. But these changes also present huge demand-side packaging opportunities. Your ability to streamline your workflow toward a perfectly predictable, scalable, and profitable venture is contingent upon your knowledge and mastery of the entire Flexo process. And FlexoKITE delivers that knowledge. If your Flexo operation is a kite, Apex International gives you the string to fly as high as you want. Thank you for your kind attention, and hand over the word back to you, Dan.
Okay, thanks, Luke. Okay, thanks. Now I have Matt back. Quickly go back to those slides, and we'll get back on track. Just give me 1 second. Okay, Matt, take it away. We still can't hear you, Matt. Maybe we can get, if Lee wants to come on and see if she can take over. Okay, Lee, you're on mute. If you take your mute off, you should be able to.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we have you. Great.
I'll take over for Matt. I'm Lee Carpenter. I'm the Global Marketing Manager for McDermott. I'll cover Matt with the technical difficulties. So I'll go through quick since we've kind of taken up a little bit of time with this, but about McDermott Graphic Solutions. We are a global company. Our corporate headquarters are based in Atlanta, Georgia, in the US, but we do have regional headquarters in both Europe and Asia, with manufacturing on 3 different continents. Our main manufacturing for photopolymer plates is in Morristown, Tennessee. We also have additional manufacturing locations in the UK and also Melbourne, Australia. And then we do cover the globe with sales and service locations, and we do have regional sales and technical personnel throughout all of the places that we sell, including distributors and direct sales. We service currently greater than 500 customers worldwide, and we do really focus on innovation and service, which does come into why we want to be a part of FlexoKITE. So I'll ask for the next slide. So we want to focus on your image with our innovation, your image as in your company, as in your print, as in everything that you do. We work to make sure your image is the best it can be. Just a little bit about us more. We are a supplier of photopolymer printing plates and equipment to the global packaging markets, all Flexo. So our plate and equipment solutions for all Flexo market sectors, labels, flexible packaging, corrugated, multi-wall bags, everything that prints Flexo, we have a solution. We are focused on innovation and collaboration, great fit for FlexoKITE with that, and we do value our strategic partners. So, really beyond plates, we want to be the innovation partner that you can trust. We want to work with you to understand your business, create unique, comprehensive, and sustainable solutions, all for your graphics supply chain. So from design to pre-press to print to market. I'll ask for the next slide. Just like I said, so, we have different ways of working with you on your entire process in the entire supply chain. So from design, we can work with you in consultation. We do have experts on optimizing your design for the packaging that you're going to use. We also have strategic partnerships. And then moving into pre-press, we obviously, our innovation, our plate processing, but we also will consult with you on utilizing the best pre-press options that you can have to maximize your print results. We also offer service and support with technical labs or technical personnel, basically on every continent, and strategic partnerships. Again, this is a good example of where ESCO would come in, and we partner with them to make sure that you're using the correct pre-press software and equipment. Then moving into print, the best plates on press. Again, we can consult to make sure that you're optimizing your color, that you're getting the best ink lay down. Every problem that we talked about or an issue that we talked about earlier in the poll, we do have consultation and service and support to help you do that. And then, of course, strategic partnerships, in this instance, working with Apex and making sure that you have the best analog rolls and sleeves. And then moving into market. Once your packaging goes to the shelves or your customer's packaging goes to shelves, we also provide consultation on that and strategic partnerships. A good example of that is our partnership with Digimark and adding that Digimark coding to your packaging for tracking and inventory. Next slide. So again, we want to focus on your image with our innovation, which is why we wanted to join FlexoKITE. Our goal is to move Flexo forward. We see Flexo as the future of printing, especially for packaging. Moving jobs from gravure to Flexo. Deciding when Flexo is the best option for a certain print or packaging type. And then we believe collaboration breeds innovation. Earlier it was stated that Flexo is more than just one supplier. You need every piece of the puzzle really to get the best print. And we utilize that to create the best options for you. Looking at pre-press solutions from ESCO and on-press solutions from Apex, they will all complement McDermott plate technology. Next slide. Okay, so what do we bring to FlexoKITE? What does McDermott bring? We obviously have our award-winning photopolymer plate solutions. You may know us for our Lux ITP products, that Lux in the plate with flat top dots. But we also have that unique option of being able to process plates either thermally or via solvent, which is why we have both types of processing equipment in the FlexoKITE Center in the Netherlands. So you can have one plate that processes either. So if you are looking to move your current workflow from solvent to thermal, you don't have to switch plates. You can keep one plate in stock and process it either way. So we're able to show you that in the KITE Center in the Netherlands and how it can process on both. We also offer outstanding service and support. Again, from pre-press to market, we're here to help. We're here to understand what your needs are and to continue to work with you. You know, when we sell you a new plate, when we place equipment in your location, we're going to be there every step of the way, from, you know, design of that implementation to actual install to post-install support. So we're never going to leave you alone. And then training, research, and collaboration at the Netherlands facility. You know, we want to have you in when we can into the center. We want to work with you on the best solutions, have you walk through the entire pre-press and plate making workflow and decide on what works best for you, work on you with troubleshooting, train your teams on the best practices, and move forward in that sense. So we hope that you really take advantage of FlexoKITE and work with us in the future. And I think that covers it for McDermott.
Okay, thanks, Lee.
You're welcome.
And I'm gonna quickly skip back to where we were hoping to be, and that's with BOPST. And right now, what I can do is introduce Mr. Dara Whelan, who is the product manager for One ECG. So Dara, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Dan. So first of all, I would like to share with you Bob's industry vision for the Packaging 4.0. At Bob's, we want to satisfy all the needs of all the stakeholders, going from brand owners to converters and consumers. Their needs are quality, efficiency, control, sustainability, and proximity. To do this, we have developed a 4-pillar strategy: connectivity, digitalization, automation, and sustainability. Through Bob's Connect, a new platform which links all the stakeholders to all machines, the platform will help converters through software to improve their process and productivity. Whilst doing this, Bob's will shape the future of the packaging world. Next slide, please, Dan. So why do we want to be a part of the FlexoKITE, or what can we bring to the FlexoKITE organization? So FlexoKITE is about elevating Flexo to new heights and ensuring best practice. At BOS, we believe that One ECG is the most efficient way to operate your equipment. Of course, people will say One ECG has been around for a long time, or ECG, fixed color palette, hexachrome, and that's true. But what we've seen in the last couple of years, or since 2014, is working with partners on the massive improvements in screening technology. For instance, as a standard, we screen at 223 lines per inch, or 90 lines per centimeter. So the screening has improved, the plate technology has improved, making sure you're consistent from left to right all the way across the plate. And once you have a consistent plate and unit, you can then use smart cameras to control your print process. And that's what we've looked to do at BOPS. We've controlled the print press to give us very repeatable results. And what we've found then is that actually the One ECG process can match the CYMK and spot color printing as good, and in some cases actually better. Next page, please, then. So what the other benefits we found, so from a perspective of, if you look at the Master M6, we've been able to use these technologies, and we've been able to ensure a 1 minute make break, so we can go from one job to the next 1 minute. Now that sounds quite easy, but there's a huge amount of work on in the background. So what we've done in Florence is we've invested heavily in people and materials to ensure that we can support that 1 minute make ready. So what we can do, we can invite customers and we can take the information into Web Center, and then we can put the work into AirPro. We've designed a workflow to automation engine to ensure speed to plate making. And then we've got the opportunity to work with the new crystal screens, which has given us, again, improved quality, especially when we're looking to try and match the rotogravure and digital technologies. We use the DuPont FAST system, again, because it's all about agility and speed to market. And this can allow us to make a plate in 45 minutes, and then, the second plate within 15, 20 minutes. That information is then sent to the ESCO Kornsberg, where we can cut the plate to the correct format before entering into automatic plate mounting and then sending the information to the machine. This then can give the customer the opportunity to see an automated setup, and then more importantly, what the results will be. Will we match the proof? Will we match the supplied sample or the delta E reading? Then all that information can be then taken and then uploaded through ColorCert into Web Center to close the loop and then give the brand owner the two-way information, which I think is quite important this day and age. As in the past, we always had press passes, but with the current pandemic, it's very difficult for the brand owners to travel and see their new products. So this gives us the opportunity to still send information through the vision systems. Next page down, please. We've also been lucky enough to have a complete portfolio, so not just from labels, we can go into the wide web, and we've also been able to analyze the color gamut of all the different processes and actually then sit and see which colors work on all the different technologies. And this is a real key, I think, in two phases. One, for brand owners, they can see continuity between the different processes on the machine. And then the second part, we have customers that don't want to maybe initially invest in the full range of sleeves or plates, so they can probably go on the M6, which is a smaller one that can complement the bigger machines. But the nice thing about it is that we can guarantee the same color and the same quality, and the brand owner gets a consistency. So if the product takes off, well, then they can go on the wider machines and make the sleeves or plates as they see fit. Also, from the label perspective, we've got the digital, which of course runs ECG, and then our Flexo runs one ECG in the inline process with the also one. So we can look from labels to combine what's best and start off on digital, and then as it ramps up, move on to the wider formats. And this is also available in folding carton and corrugated board. Next slide, please. So why do we want to be a part of FlexoKITE? So to give you some background, one ECG and the Revo process has been going since 2014, and what we found was that it's absolutely critical to be part of a team and have experts to ensure that the product that they've developed is being correctly used and we're getting the most out of it. So best practice. So for us, the success working with partners has been really good in the previous. And then the second part is the opportunity for Apex to have an experience center in India was a real plus point for us. To be able to mirror what we have in Europe and then have it in India just seemed a great opportunity. And as we all know, India is a fantastic, emergent, and great market. So to be a part of that and having the opportunity to go and see this firsthand, I think, is a real plus for our customers, clients, and so forth. So yeah, next page, please, then. So where can you experience FlexoKITE? As I just said, we will have the air equipment with all the other partners' equipment in India in the coming year. We have competence centers around the world, North America, South America, China, and again in Europe. And then in Italy, at the moment, we've invested heavily in doing virtual demos. Me myself, I much prefer the people to come and see the machine, but I have to say, after many virtual demos, the customers are now getting engaged in that process. So we can still continue to develop, we can still continue to see how the new technologies will work, and we can still do the job. So in essence, yeah, we have those both opportunities to see it virtually or in person once the restrictions are lifted. So look, thank you very much for your time. That's all from me, and I hope to see you all soon in person or virtually. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions. Bye.
Thanks, Dara. So, yeah, we wanted to, take this opportunity to give you a little bit more overview of what we're bringing into FlexoKITE to kind of have that understanding, because there's a lot of things we can do here. And you hear a few things that come back. And I think the main thing is, how do these different pieces fit together? How do we make this equipment work in the most optimal way? And in the FlexoKITE environments, thanks to the partners, we actually have a massive investment of equipment and a lot of different equipment, different capabilities for thermal and solvent plates, different possibilities in how we actually do the UV exposing on those plates for people to do some comparison. The printing opportunities we'll have, a huge software possibility to show people how all these things fit. I think there was a key thing in Dara's slide where you start to see how it's not only the software that you're using in the pre-press, but there's also software that's connecting these machines together. You see that on the ESCO equipment, you see that going to the Kongsberg table, you see that going into the press itself, that all these things come back. And the other exciting thing is that this is all actually within a factory where we actually create and make the analogs. So you get a chance to see that too, and see how all these things fit together. There's a lot of different activities we see ourselves being able to do as part of FlexoKITE. So, I think the main ones are troubleshooting, advice and support, people looking to go from gravure to Flexo, consultancy, some R&D, definitely education on a lot of different levels, a possibility to make mock-ups and letterpress to Flexo. And I think another critical part that we also saw is going virtual or live. Everything that's happening now is changing how we interact in a lot of cases. And so what we see is a way to kind of maximize our time and our usage. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people to see things virtually first and then go see it live. And the other, again, important part is that we want to get closer to the customers wherever they can be. So we want to give people the maximum flexibility to come and see things either through a virtual setup where we actually show them how the machines work and how the software works together, or have them actually come and visit us, whatever is going to work best for them. And what we've been putting together are a few different scenarios for people to think about how they can come in and see or experience FlexoKITE, I should say. When we look at really labels, we have like a scenario where people can come in, get a better understanding about the analogs, how that links to the screen, what they need in terms of volume for the print, how that's working back with the actual patterns that we start to put on top of the plates that you see now that's really growing. Another possibility is if customers wanted to actually bring their own plates, that we could take those, put them on press and print. We can also have, if companies want to bring their own files, that we actually take that, process the plates, and then put those on press. And of course, the last possibility is we actually go through the whole workflow from A to Z. Really interesting for people to see what happens when I walk in with a PDF, and at the end of the day, I can walk out with a print, that we actually see this whole process laid out for people. A lot of converters, even though they don't do their own plate making or their own pre-press, there needs to be a lot of communication between the printer and those suppliers, and how that information goes back and forth is also critical. So we just want to highlight what's the main information you need to get between these different pieces of the puzzle, as we actually saw, explained earlier. The other possibility is if people want to actually print at an external site in your own press room. So we can also help give people education about the analogs for different types of market segments, whether that's labels or flexibles or corrugated. People want to have their plates, we can see how we can support them in getting those printed and how that's going to link in with the analogs. We have, of course, a possibility if people want to bring their own P2F to us, we make the plates, but then we print on their site. And again, coming back to a complete A to Z, if you want to see how the workflow is working with the plate making, and then print it wherever you need to get that printed. So we offer a lot of flexibility in being open and how that's going to meet your needs and getting all these things taken care of. When we talk about when are we going to be open for business, well, we're kind of open now in Hapert. We have all the equipment there. It's just some regulations around the COVID restrictions now that make things a little bit more challenging to really get it completely open and have people come in. But we hope that by January, we'll be able to be fully able to accept everyone, hopefully live, if not definitely virtually. And in India, we're going to be opening that center there to everyone in March to come in and see everything there and get a big blast of what we can do there. I think there's enormous numbers of opportunities of how people can see how technologies fit, how to tweak them, how to see, where do we need to start looking if we want to introduce some new technology, whatever that is. How can we do that? Everyone within the next 24 hours will get a link thanking you for taking part in the webinar. We really appreciate your time. And you see a list here of all the contacts if you want to reach out to anyone from any of the partners. We also have my contact if you want to learn more about the FlexoKITE and coming to visit us, which would be really great to have that happen. And then I think now what we can do is move on to our last poll question, which really is more for you to get is, are there things you want to learn more about? Could that be the pre-press workflow, plate imaging, plate technologies, analogs engraving options, the print efficiency, any of these things that we can help you with is always interesting for us to see and hear about. So we'll take some time for everyone to kind of fill in some of these polls now. And then after this, we're going to move into a short or long, however long, Q&A session to just hear about what people want to, what some of the questions are. We've had quite a few questions coming in. One was question is if we have the intention to work with an ink and blade supplier also. We do. We have now definitely supplier in India for ink and for the doctor blades. But of course, that's something that we didn't want to bring in initially as one of the partners, but we'll definitely be open to work with different people with that. So I guess now we can move on to the Q&A session. So let's hear whatever questions you might have. So we can get all the speakers back online and
Dan, would you like me to help reading out the questions, or how do you want to?
okay. If you can't see the questions, Pascal, if you click on the right.
I can see them. I can see them.
All right. So let's just kind of go through some of the questions we had. We had a question about the different types of plates we can make, which we answered. We have the complete McDermott plate making available in Hapert in the Netherlands, and we have the DuPont plate making equipment available in our site in India. We also had a question about this maximum size. So right now the plate size we're making is 900 by 1200 millimeters. I had a question here, FlexoKITE versus Revo. Well, I guess it's in a way carry on from some of the learnings we had in Revo, and the main thing was, it's that cooperation among the partners that makes such a strong alliance and make it that much more powerful for everyone who has a chance to take part. I had another question here about proofing devices. We're looking at the possibility of putting in some proofing devices both in Holland and in India to help cover that side of things. Frederick, do I need to stop sharing so you can go up that other video? We have everyone here if you have any other questions. We made another video to kind of just run here in the background while we're going through this to give you a better idea. I know for some of the people it kind of seemed like it was a little bit too much of a product promo, but I think for us, we thought this would be the best way to help people understand what do we have to offer. You know, what's all the equipment that we have here available for people to come in and play with, right? It's a good part. I had a question here about a possibility to do some training and education. Absolutely. I think that's a critical part. We can look at different possibilities for the training, whether that's on the equipment that you can come in and see, or if it's more on the process side. I think it depends on what you want to learn. There's a question here, maybe that's something for you, Dara. Whom do you see the conventional flexible printing compared to digital, and how that's working out? Dara, you want to take that?
Sorry, Dan, I was on mute. What was the question again?
It's whom do you see conventional flexo printing compared to digital? And
I think they're complementary. You know, having the opportunity to work with both. You know, because Bob says their own digital engine as well, and I have them in the Competence Center there. And there's no one fit for everything. These processes are all complementary. There's a lot to be said about the digital side, the agility, and the speed to work, how simple it can be. But then you've got cost into factor. So what we tend to do in this scenario would look absolutely at the business in question and do a detailed ROI to see what fits best for them. Because there's no one fit that fits all. I think, as I said, they're a complementary task. But other companies have a fit. They might have the pre-press department all in. Others are starting new. So yeah, it's something that I think needs a bit more analysis. We're happy to do that.
There's another question here, but I'm not sure I understand the question. More about a virtual press run, proofing, digital printing, and Digimark. Can you explain a little bit more, Len, what you were hoping here to get? We got another question here in Asia Pacific about a move to more water wash plates. I don't know. That's not really my strongest point, I guess. I think there's a lot of new technologies coming out for the processing of the plates.
Yeah, as far as water wash plates are concerned, I mean, that's something that has been pretty old. It's not a new technology as well. I mean, as such, but then the biggest challenge in a water wash plate is how do you dispose the water that is being used, because it's not very environmental friendly to dispose the water. So that's the biggest challenge. And the cost of recycling the water is pretty high. So I mean, that's the reason a lot of innovation on water wash plates have been limited. So that's what I can add to.
Yeah, I had another question coming in about the relationship between the analog screen count to the plate, and you know, what we see is this is kind of getting interesting, I think, is a way to describe it. You know, the typical is that you want 8 times the screen ruling to have for your analogs. But what you start to see now, and we start to see clear links between if you want to have special screens for white or special screens for better ink transfer, that it goes beyond just looking at what is the cell size and what's the smallest dot on my plate, so that that doesn't actually clash and I don't get over inking on my highlight dots. Because another important part of this is you can also have a screen within the patterning that goes on top of a plate. So is that somehow getting interfered with what I have on the analogs, and how those things fit together is really, really interesting, and to see how they affect one another. And I think one of the things we're looking to definitely demonstrate more next year is exactly how this is happening. I had another question from someone around the cleaning of solvent inks from the analogs. And there are some safe laser cleaning options that you can have. Any other questions? Some nice questions coming in. Thanks, guys. There's a question here about if we'll be working with in the round sleeves or focusing on plate. I think probably in the centers themselves, at least initially, we'll focus on just making flat plates. But of course, if somebody wants to bring in the sleeves, we can utilize that in the press.
I guess Dan has already answered.
I think we'd have to see if we would have space to add all of that equipment. There's another nice question just came in. Is it possible to carry out demos and training for flexible packaging and corrugated? I hand that off to either Pascal or Lee. I think that's certainly from our side, no problem. You want to take that?
Yeah, for McDermott's side, no problem as well. We offer plates for every segment, so we can definitely help with training and demos for processing those plates. Up to, of course, we said the size of, I believe, 35 by 45, I believe, is the largest size plate we could make in the Netherlands.
And for the actual printing for flexible packaging and corrugated, we are very actively searching for some partners to be able to make that more flexible for people.
We can also help their demos on FlexPack and corrugated, no problem at all. That's possible.
All right. Well, we'll hang on in case people have some more questions, and we'll try and cover those now. If you don't, do that now, or you feel shy, don't worry. You have all our contact details. You'll get that in the email that's coming through tomorrow, and then we'll be happy to hear from you. Yeah, someone just asked if you can get a recording of the live stream. Frederick's answering, yep, you'll get an email with a link. As we know, some people want to be able to follow, but something else comes in between and they can't always do that, so that's no problem. Yeah, it's nice to, as you see in the background, that little video, a lot of different things that can happen from the equipment that we have available. So it's a nice thing for us to be able to share too. Well, I want to thank all the partners for their support and their help in getting this all kicked off today. And we really hope we're going to hear from you soon. And we look forward to seeing you in one of the FlexoKITE centers and hearing how we can support you and help you. So I guess with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up and let you guys get back to your day. Thanks.
Thank you. Good
Thank
day.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.